Quit the 9 to 5 with Ben Handler, getting you out of the rat race and into a career buying property.
Good everyone, it's Phil Tarrant here. I'm the co-host of Quit the 9 to 5 with Ben Handler, and I don't do this alone, as you heard in the intro just then. Ben Handler is here in the studio with me to navigate this crazy world of being a buyer's agent. How you going, mate?
Very well, Phil.
So what's been going on the last month or so we got together?
There's been a lot of enrolments into the Institute.
Yep.
Really good calibre students, and there's been some really good buying of investment properties at the moment, and that's why we're super excited to have Millie here today with us.
Yeah, so in the studio today, Millie Brigden, and she's been buying property for quite some time, investment property, and she made a transition into becoming a buyer's agent. We're going to get that story, and we're going to understand what it's like to actually be a buyer's agent, someone who has been in the game for quite some time and probably gone through a number of different cycles, the trials and tribulations of not only running an SME, but also finding property and negotiating property, and it's a difficult market at the moment compared to other markets we've had, and I'm sure we're going to get into that. Millie, how you going? Thanks for joining us.
I'm very well. Thank you for having me. Very excited to be here.
What do you know about being a buyer's agent? Still a lot to learn?
Well, yeah, I think it is a learning process. Like, I've always been a massive advocate of buyers, and I think that's how I found the path to become a buyer's agent. I wish there had been an institute at the time that I could have gone and done the course. I learnt more through myself and other people and mentors.
It's interesting, you know, one of the objectives of this particular podcast that, you know, Ben is a passionate buyer's agent and looking to develop what is still a really new industry, being a buyer's agent, and there's a lot of interest in becoming a buyer's agent, and what we're trying to do is unpack what it actually means to be a buyer's agent and dispel some of the myths about the realities of being a buyer's agent. And some of the stuff we've spoken about previously is the fact that there's two parts of being a buyer's agent. There is finding customers to be a buyer's agent for, and then there's the job of being a buyer's agent. If you look at those two different components of being a buyer's agent, what do you like the most? Do you like the buyer's agency bit or finding people to be a buyer's agent for?
I think I love working with my clients. I'm an investor myself, so I bought my first property at 19, which was 25 years ago, and I now have 8 properties. So having been through that process, I've always been passionate about helping people find property and giving them honest information and helping them cut through the noise. And I think the most beneficial thing for me is helping them, and it becomes a numbers game, but they're giving them independent advice that's not from the real estate agent who's working for the seller.
And what is it, Ben, do you think, with Millie, you work a lot with buyer's agents, and whether it's cultivated in this new generation of buyer's agents coming through or established buyer's agents like Millie who have been doing this for quite some time, what is it that sets Millie apart, do you think, and makes her a good buyer's agent that other people could probably learn from?
Millie focuses primarily in investment, which I really like, and she's just really focused on delivering strong results for her clients, you know, looking to build portfolios, and also flexibility. I mean, Millie lives and breathes that whole notion of, you know, she's got 3 kids, and she's able to, you know, spend a lot of time with them and also focus on the work. So, I mean, that's always been pretty inspiring for me to see. I mean, what do you think about that, Millie, regarding flexibility?
Well, I think I found, so I worked in the corporate world. I had 7 years in investment banking, was always passionate about property. After my first child, I started a career in real estate and started a business. And that was more traditional real estate, so I was the selling agent. And after 9 years, I was just working weekends, late nights, long days, not seeing the kids, and it wasn't what I set out to do. During that time, I really saw a need in the market for people who were actually representing the buyers, because I was seeing a lot of buyers being taken advantage of. So then I decided to become a buyer's agent. So I've been doing that for the last 3 years, and I just find it gives me so much flexibility with the kids. I can work around them. I'm not a slave to my phone or to my business. So I've scaled everything back and just work with the clients, and I find it really rewarding and lots of flexibility.
So tell me about that choice you've made. So when you went a real estate agent into being a buyer's agent, was it one day you just went, that's it, I'm going to start down this path, and what did you do to start down that path? Well,
while I was a selling agent, I was still focusing on investment properties, and it was more business to business. So I was buying myself, but also for the market that I was in, we were doing project marketing. So it was still based around investment. So I still built my experience. So we sold about 300 properties in that period. But what I saw with that is the buyers were being taken advantage of. So I was always looking from the buyer's eyes at what's a good deal and what I would want to invest in and what I think makes sense. But then I really saw a need where people needed needed someone by their side, a buyer's agent by their side to really help them. So I built that experience during that time. And also just with mentors and things like that, which really helped to convert me over to the buyer's side.
So on the buyer side, where do you think most people go wrong? And you talk about people not buying well, being at the real estate side. Where are those mistakes normally?
I think there's a lot of noise in the market. I think in terms of the media and talking to the selling agent's only working for them, people not knowing the right questions to ask. When it comes to property, where they should be looking. It's not just about the macro research, it's about the micro research. So really honing down on the quality of a street, the building, the type of tenant that you're going to get, what the real price should be, how to negotiate, to find out if there's any issues with the buildings. So just helping with all of that little information. A lot of people just don't know what they don't know.
Yeah, and Millie, you were mentioning earlier before this discussion around, you're buying in southeast Queensland, you're buying in Canberra, you're doing a bit in Melbourne. What are you feeling is representing the best for clients at the moment?
So I think the market across the board is starting to slow down, and obviously Sydney and Melbourne have pulled back a bit. I see Biz Shrapnel has just come out with their latest report and have put Brisbane as the number one capital city for capital growth over the next 3 years. And I think there's good buying opportunity there because the market has been flat. There's really good opportunity. So I just secured 3 units for 3 different clients at 15% below a bank valuation in Ascot, with views, brand new, full depreciation, which is amazing. So they're absolutely thrilled.
Yeah, Ascot's a top suburb.
Yeah, it's equivalent to Double Bay in Sydney.
So how do you go about doing that? What's the secret to get something 15% under market value? And I know you don't want to give away all your secrets, but this is the holy grail for property investors, right? To actually find under market value property.
That's right, exactly, because it's essentially, 15% below, developers are only making 20%, so you're almost picking up the developer's margin in a property that's ready to go without the risk. It's really just because I've been in the market for so long, I've been so passionate about property for so long. Because I was doing more volume-based, I've dealt with a lot of developers over the year. I deal with project managers in all different areas. I'm licensed in Queensland, New South Wales, ACT and Victoria, so I look across broad markets and I just understand what's going on in the market. I know the right questions to ask and the people to ask, and if I've got clients in a particular position, then I'll go and find out who's hurting, who needs to sell, what have they got to sell. But does it also tick all the investment fundamental boxes as well?
And what sort of
stuff market experience.
Yeah, what sort of stuff do you buy? Is it new? Is it existing? Is it all in sundry?
I find for a lot of my clients, they're on a good income, they're paying a lot of tax, they don't have a lot of time, so they don't want to spend their Saturdays looking at property, they don't know where to start. So I help them, I do their homework for them and then just try and break through and nut down exactly what's going to suit their portfolio. I'll work with their financial advisor and their broker, so it's all transparent. So I do find often I do buy new for my clients because they're looking to offset their tax. So it doesn't mean I do buy secondhand property as well, but that seems to be the bulk of my work is people who are time poor, they know they need to do something, don't know where to start, they want something they can set and forget that's going to do well over the long term, it's not going to give them any headaches and not going to cost them much to hold.
What is it you most enjoy about your job?
I love getting results for people,
Yep.
like getting that 15% below. Like I love making other people money. I like making money myself, but I find it really rewarding. I think it's a win-win. I feel really passionate about people taking ownership of their financial circumstances and setting themselves up for the future, because super's not enough and most people have their head in the sand about the reality that they won't have enough money. So getting them into property, I feel like that's really going to set them up for the future, and it's a gift that's going to keep on giving to them. Yeah.
And Millie, what are you finding, challenging in the market right now? What are you finding challenging with prospective clients or even dealing with real estate agents? What are you finding?
What I find challenging is I think most people, they just want to invest in their own backyard, or, they'll go to a dinner party and they'll jump around with ideas and they don't really understand their numbers and they don't understand the marketplace, like how things are travelling in the market. So trying to cut through all the noise and understand their own personal situation, because there's no one size fits all. Everybody's different, what's going to suit them. Helping them understand where you should be investing and why, and how it's going to be safe and secure for the future.
Ben, question, and the P word, passion. You work with a lot of new to market buyers agents who are going through the process of exploring whether or not it's the right career for them, and you also deal with people at the other end of the scale, very established buyers agents like Millie. Passion, how important, if you want to get into this game, if you don't have that passion, can you tell if someone has a passion when you first meet them?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
If they're not passionate about property, I actually say, guys, this is not for you. Probably not for you.
How many people go, I'm passionate about property, but they're really not? They just sort of like the idea about being passionate about property.
There's quite a few. I mean, all Aussies love property, right? And they think they're experts at property. So everyone just thinks they're passionate about property. But there is quite a few people who genuinely just think, this is cut out for me when it's actually not.
And the passion's obviously important, but what else is important to be a good buyer's agent? Market knowledge, persistence, resilience, all this sort of stuff. It's how do you know if you've got that or not?
I think passion is the most important thing. So if you genuinely live and breathe property, this career is really quite easy. It doesn't feel like work. And then it all comes down to, I guess, servicing clients. You've got to really enjoy the interaction, the communication. Like Millie was saying, getting results. You've got to be very focused on getting those outcomes, especially if you're buying investment properties. Like you want to make sure you are getting those deliverables for the client. So you've got to be very, very focused on getting results.
When you look at, Millie, maybe to your experience, as a real estate agent, you got to work hard for a couple of years before you start making good money, right? It doesn't happen overnight being a really successful real estate agent. And you see them, you go to open homes and they've got the flashy cars and the flashy suits and stuff. And you think, wow, it's easy to be a real estate agent. But the reality is very different. It takes a long time to actually build up the reputation to be a great selling agent. If you put that on the other side, and to your experience growing a buyer's agency business, is it easier to become successful faster being a buyer's agent, i.e. do you need to do that grind for many, many years to build that reputation? Or if you're delivering good value, you can actually start making money pretty quickly?
I think you can. I think you've got to be realistic about how long it takes, because it can be a long time nurturing clients for them to actually take action. And I think it's probably just as hard being a real estate agent as a buyer's agent, but you're servicing two different types of clients. But I think you definitely have to have passion, you definitely have to have resilience, and you've got to have hustle. And you've got to be committed, because you've got to make those phone calls every single day. You've got to be prospecting. You've got to build your network of people that are going to refer to you, because people want someone trusted. So I find the best source of referrals is actually through people who trust a mortgage broker, an accountant, a financial planner, and then otherwise it's word of mouth. So it's just being in front of people all the time. So being really committed to what you do and giving good service.
And outside of your referral network, which is a good driver of business, and personally, I take referrals really well. Someone goes, hey, use this person. I typically go, all right, no, that sounds good. But what other marketing do you do to make sure you're in front of potential customers? I've
done a little bit of digital marketing. I've been in a few magazines and things like that, but generally it is just referrals. So I think that is the most source. It's past clients and business partners that I work with. That is the biggest thing. So just pound the pavement, tell people what you're doing, go to your local brokers, go to your financial planners, find another buyer's agent who you can mentor with so you can understand how they do it. But I think that's the most trusted way to get people.
And Ben, how long does it take to make a six-figure income being a buyer's agent? Can you do that in your first year?
I've seen it in the first year, and it's typically, within 3 years.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and those people that create a earning capacity faster than others, outside of the passion, what are they doing well?
Prospecting, just like Millie was saying, really building a strong database of potential clients. And even if they're not clients, they're nurturing them regularly to stay in contact with them, so they're going to turn into clients down the track. Yeah.
And Millie, you touched on the flexibility being a buyer's agent provides you, which sounds really cool. You've got a family, and one of the reasons why you went into it was for flexibility. Can you give us an idea of your typical day as a buyer's agent?
So I've got 3 kids, and I've got a home office. I've got serviced offices in North Sydney and in the city, so I do travel a lot, and especially because I'm licensed in different states, so I travel a bit. But I have more flexibility on the weekends with the kids all picking up after school, so I can organise my meetings around that. I don't have to be at open homes all day on a Saturday, and I don't need to be negotiating all day on a Sunday on my phone. I can switch my phone off. I can move away from that, but still be giving my clients the best possible service. So I find that has just been a weight lifted off my shoulders.
And how do you split your time between, and whether it's just organic, or you do it structurally between prospecting new business or servicing current clients?
I try and have a set plan that I'll meet with new prospects 3 times a week. So 3 times a week I will be meeting with business partners. So I try and keep that as part of my plan. And the other part of that is just getting in touch with clients and sourcing new clients, getting out and networking, but minimum 3 meetings a week with new prospects.
And one of the biggest challenges SMEs have, small businesses, irrespective of whether you're a buyer's agent or doing something else, is that you end up working too much in the business rather than on the business. So thinking about planning for the future, business growth, scaling your business, winning new work, winning new clients, the health, the financial health of your business, cash flow, all this sort of stuff. How do you trigger yourself to make sure that I'm going down a bit of a rabbit hole here and spending too time on the client servicing side and neglecting my business? Do you have a trigger point, or do you understand when that's happening?
There's definitely ebbs and flows. I think it's really important to network with other people who run small businesses as well, and particularly in different fields. And so you can sound each other out. You can help each other. You can mentor each other. So and get someone in your industry to mentor you. I think that's really, really valuable to help you keep your eye on the big picture as well as your day-to-day tasks.
Yeah, and dialogue does need to change in this market, because buyers, it's different. Like, they do think now that they can buy property better than, let's say, 8 months ago. So they really think, that DIY, they can do it themselves. So I think it's really important that the buyer's agents are communicating with other buyer's agents to see how they're actually interacting with meetings now. Because, my point of view now is that given that the market has changed, it's like now, well, where do you go to get that good buy potentially? Do you go to Southeast Queensland? Do you go to Canberra and buy houses? Or, do you go to Victoria? Or do you stay in New South Wales? So I still think there's a lot of guidance that buyers need. Millie, what do you think?
I think so as well, because as I said before, it's not a one-size-fits-all, and people do need guidance, and it's hard to just rely on the real estate agent or what you read in the newspaper. It depends what you're looking for, what your budget is, what your current situation is, how long until you're going to retire, are you going to take time out for kids? There's so many variables, so it's really looking at everyone's personal situation. So, okay, well, what's your budget? Have you got enough buffer? And where is that money going to be best spent? And then really honing down on the type of product and how it's going to perform for them long term, as well as them understanding their numbers.
And going back to your business, Millie, do you have a business plan? Do you have a document, a piece of paper, a spreadsheet, or something scribbled on the back of a
I
bead
do,
coaster
but I wouldn't.
Yeah.
I do have a business plan, but it's I wouldn't say it's one that I would necessarily present. I don't know. I've been in small business for a really long time, and I love what I do. I'm passionate about what I do. I know you can keep rewriting your business plan, but I go along with what I'm doing. I'm getting good results. I've got happy clients. I want to keep growing that. I want to keep investing and developing property myself.
So you've got two things happening in unison then. So you have a buyer's agent's business and generates income, which is cool, but you're still investing in property yourself. So
that's right.
Does that give you an advantage, you think, investing in property yourself? The fact that you're in the game all day, every
That's
day?
right, absolutely. So I'm constantly hearing about deals. I get sent deals every single day from agents, from developers. I love getting in at early stages. At the moment, I'm looking at putting a syndicate together to do a small development. So we'll probably do 5 townhouses. So I want to start building on that, and maybe doing some commercial syndicates where we can rezone for a DA as well. So so keep my finger on the pulse.
And
build my wealth.
Do you work by yourself? Do you have any support or help?
I've got an assistant, but otherwise it's just me. So I have had staff before and had a bigger business before, and I've just scaled everything back so I get a better work-life balance, and it's just me focusing on the clients rather than managing other people.
And how much of the buyer's agency work is a facilitator or utility for you to keep growing your portfolio? So are you doing that so you can build yourself a better portfolio yourself, or it's more about the other?
Yeah, I think it's both. I love what I do. I'm really passionate about what I do, and that's so important because it makes you good at what you do. But I also want to create wealth for the future. So you need cash flow for that. So if this was a job of choice, this is the one that I would definitely choose. And I love being in small business, but I'm also smart enough to know that you've got to keep investing in your future as well, because what if the income stops one day? You need some assets to support you in the future. And
are you going to stop being a buyer's agent one day? Is there a point in time where you're going to go, that's it?
I don't know. I think I'll always be looking for deals, and I think I'll always be telling everyone about deals. Yeah. So it might be one of those things. It might slow down a bit, but I'm sure I'll probably be in the nursing home telling people about deals that I found.
And do you chat a lot about property to your friends and family? Are you always at it, or you can switch off?
Oh, no, I think it's really hard with small business to switch
Yeah.
off. I think you're constantly on, but I think that's just my nature as well. And I love property. And as you said before, Ben, Australians love property. So, everyone wants to talk about property. Where should I invest? What do you think I should do with my home? And I love talking about it. So it makes it really easy.
And
It's a good conversation piece.
It is. So I think today or yesterday, we officially ticked over 25 million
I know.
people in Australia. And
Yeah.
that's happened a generation before it was expected, according to the ABS, I believe was the person or the body giving those numbers. Sydney's, softened. It's softening quite a lot. Melbourne the same. Are you worried about the property market in Australia? Is it going to fall to pieces at some
I
point?
don't think it'll fall to pieces because Australians love investing in property and it's different to other areas. And I think all the markets are cyclical and this is just Sydney's turn to go through the cycle. We've just had, 4 years of amazing growth and you can't keep supporting that. I think long term you're never going to go wrong in Sydney. I think you only realise your loss if you sell.
Yeah.
I'm probably for investors who are looking for recommendations. I'm more interested in putting them in other locations that I think are going to perform well in the next 2 to 3 years. That might be a bit cheaper than Sydney, and then get ready and have enough cash ready for when there's going to be great buying opportunity in Sydney in 2 or 3 years. So I kind of am ready, trying to form a group that will come back and be ready to invest in Sydney where there's people hurting, people can't sell on properties, developers need to sell, and that'll be great buying opportunities and hopefully 15% below back in Sydney with a good yield.
Let's hope so. So Ben, for our listeners thinking about becoming a buyer's agent at some point, or they're actually in the throes of doing it right now, the 3 key things that they can learn from Millie about building a successful buyer's agent business.
I guess persistence, hustle, and I guess the ability to really just generate that end result for the client.
And the vision for Millie moving forward, how do you think she can see her continue to improve her business as a buyer's agent? What more could Millie do you think to either deliver greater value for her customers or building a healthier buyer's agent's business?
Yeah, we were just talking about this earlier. I guess it's now focusing on the owner-occupier market because if rates do go up, that's going to infect the investor market. So you want to diversify and spread yourself. So I think for Millie, she lives in the Northern Beaches, so focusing on that primary residence market there, I think is really going to set her up for, I guess, a better balance.
And going back to the point that there's 25 million people in Australia right now, and Sydney's looking to grow, exponentially over this next couple of generations. So you're up in the Northern Beaches, eh?
Yes.
What's the market like up there at the moment? Because I know it's sort of ebbed and flowed a little bit, and often it's been hard to shift properties, particularly at the top end. But it's still a very family-centric area. And going to the fact of diversifying your business and starting to look at the owner-occupier market, is that somewhere you're going to go?
Yeah, I would love that. I would love to move into that space, move into the owner-occupier market, and particularly on the Northern Beaches. People are always going to want homes. We've got population growth. I think the Northern Beaches, probably Sydney across the board, has pulled back 10%. So what you were buying on the Northern Beaches in September last year for $3 million, you probably pick up for 2.7 now. I think that's going to soften further. So I think you can see the market correction. I think that will come back a bit. But Sydney, long term, you'll never do wrong. So if you're buying a house, if you own occupier, it's a different strategy. You're emotional, even though I think best buying will be in 2 years. But yeah, I don't think you're ever going to go wrong.
And do you think, Ben, and with the Buyers Agent Institute, with the softening market, do you think it's going to take a little bit of heat out of people looking at property investment as a profession? Or do you think, considering the flux in the marketplace right now, more and more people are going to be brought to more aware about property and property investment and choose this as a career? What are you seeing?
Yeah, I think one of the biggest risks of becoming a buyer's agent is rates going up because, it's harder to get money. But I think, the chances of rates really skyrocketing, I think are quite low. So, we're seeing a lot of interest for people who just, I guess, want to dive into and really find their niche, whether it is buying owner-occupier property or buying investment. And like Millie, she's looking to diversify. A lot of the people are looking to diversify now with both buying primary residence and investor. So I think, we're still seeing strong interest.
That's good. And for people who are interested in exploring becoming a buyer's agent, what do they do?
Just visit www.buyersagentinstitute.com and I guess you'll learn there really if this is going to be a career for you. Okay,
and if anyone's got any questions or they want more about Millie's experience, email address or any way they can contact you?
Yeah, just the mobile is best, 0405 633 910. I'd love to talk to you.
Okay, nice one. And Millie, what was your business, your MB Property Advantage, is that right?
Yes, that's right. And the website's milliebrigden.com.au.
Okay, nice one. Well, thanks guys. Appreciate you coming and have a chat about this. Ben, as always, good to do this. I look forward to every single month to come and have a chat about become a buyer's agent, and I sort of navigate through this world of property quite a lot, and there's a lot of people now that are seeing this as a potential career, and it's good to be part of the story to help grow and evolve this particular sector. So thanks for coming in, mate.
Thank you very much.
We'll be back again next time. Until then, bye-bye.
Thanks for listening to Quit the 9 to 5 with Ben Handler. For more advice on turning property buying into your career, head to www.buyersagentinstitute.com.au now.
The information featured in this podcast is general in nature, does not take into consideration your financial situation or individual needs, and should not be relied upon. Before making any investment, insurance, tax, property or financial planning decision, you should consult a licensed professional who can advise whether your decision is appropriate for you. Guests appearing on this podcast may have a commercial relationship with the companies mentioned.